So here we have a Pelican 1495 laptop case, and as you can see on the inside we've got a lot of sticky residue, glue, where foam's been stuck and then taken off, and it's left some of the foam behind and the sticky residue. Now, a good thing for that is these pry tools. So you've got a flat, wide edge that end and a narrower edge that end. And normally, I've already started working on this one, but you can kind of, you normally get this underneath the, a bit of the, there you go. In fact, these, so sometimes you get lucky, they just lift right off. They don't want to adhere to the surface that well, weirdly. So let's try and get this bit off on camera and then we'll leave it. There you go. So these tools are very good for this kind of work. Ugh. There we are. See, that's come away with really nothing left at all. This whole section. Luckily, because this inner part of a Pelican case is very smooth. It's smoother than the exterior. Weirdly, this is a very smooth surface, so there's not a lot for this kind of glue to cling to in terms of really getting into the sort of the texture of it. On the outside, that would have been harder work because the outside of the Peli has more of a texture to it, and there's stuff obviously on a sort of on a micro level, on a molecular level of it can bond better. But that came straight off. Let's have a look. See, this is just coming off. So hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a headache to get all this stuff off, and go from there. All right, so this has all now been taken off. This is all removable, and there's really a minimal of residue left on here. And this was, I'm literally filming this, 5 minutes after the first video, so it really didn't want to stick at all. Above here, this is kind of, it's obviously this foam. So this looks like it's going to come off pretty easy, but it's going to leave marks in the foam where it's kind of melted foam. Although this foam is not, it's glued in, so maybe I'll take that out as well. It's not cosmetically very sweet, so it's not a plus to a buyer to have that. Better to get some. A proper bit of lid foam, convoluted lid foam or something. Although, if it's anything like my 1495, I've got one of these that I keep my laptop in, and it's got the egg box foam, which has a special cut. It's shaped especially for this case with this little bit here, and it does not want to stain the lid. The lid's very shallow compared to some Pelicans. And it doesn't actually hold the foam in very well. You'd have to glue it all if you wanted it to stay. So every time I open my case, the foam's down here. But there we are. So this would probably want to come out. I might see how that goes. I don't know. It's not very pretty, so I don't think it's a benefit, is it, to leave it in there? So I'll probably take it out. So here I have a typical sort of microfiber cloth that I use, and this one has had a lot of sort of WD-40 in and around it, and it's not wet or anything like that, but it's sort of impregnated with WD-40, and I usually use this as a sort of starting point on stuff like this, just to see if just with the residue, literally without spraying anything on it, I can kind of get some result in terms of taking off this sort of sticky residue. So I'll just literally give it a rub and just see what starts to happen. I can feel already that this is starting to lift, and so it's starting to go. It's almost gone, in fact. And so what I would probably then do is give it a little spray, go through each little bit like this bit, give it a little spray anyway, and give it a once over. I mean, I think that even as it is right now, I don't think most people would notice the residue, but I like to try and get it off, best one can. There's definitely some stickum there that needs lifting, so maybe I'll get some goo going on that. And but other than that, there's a little bit here. But yeah, this cloth is quite good as a sort of starter because it's already sort of seen a lot of action, and it has a lot of product in it, sort of suspended in it, and it just makes sometimes light work of some of these jobs without you having to get too sort of messy and spraying stuff. You can literally deal with some very light issues, like that. That should, I'm going to do it on camera, see, it's just gone. That sort of thing is exactly the kind of thing that a cloth like this is perfect for, because it just deals with it very, very quickly, without any fuss. You don't have that kind of, any mess. There's no fuss, no muss, and all of a sudden the inside of this case is starting to look pretty good. I'm still going to deal with this lid here, but at least the base here is looking pretty good. That's pretty good. So the case is upside down. That's the bottom, that's the lid. I have taken this foam out, and I'm in the process of removing these little bits. They're mostly coming off the same as they did on the bottom, fairly easily. Let's have a look. Some of them you could even do by hand, but the pry tool, especially if you work it a little bit up the edges like this, give it a little twist, it tends to get under it nicely. Okay, that's all that done. So now we've just got the various little residue patches, where a little bit of Goo Gone or even just that impregnated cloth might do wonders for that. And there's a pile of stickum. There you go. Pry tool. Amazon, dead cheap. Get a pack of them for pennies. As suspected, the residue is pretty much gone. There's a little spot there that I've missed, but it's pretty good. And just with the cloth, the foam came out in one piece. It's usable as a base layer, but it's not very pretty. But I'm going to keep it in there rather than chuck it away. But that is the case dealt with more or less in terms of the interior state of it. External wise, it isn't bad. It needs a little bit, there's a few scuffs here and there, but you can't really do anything about those. And all the double throws are fine. It's not a particularly stiff example, sort of middling. I've had cases that have easier close latches than this, but also cases that have much harder close latches. You do get what you get in terms of the Pelican double throws. So there we are. It's pretty good, not bad at all. Considering this was sent through the post with no protection, that's kind of is quite a good advert for why these cases are expensive and why they are sought after by people who want to keep things safe inside them, because that is what they do very well. And in the process, I mean, look at that. That is not too bad at all, considering it's come, I think, all the way from America, by the way. It hasn't been, this is not a British purchase, this was a US purchase, so it's come all the way from the States like that and arrives intact. Now, would that happen with, well, who knows?